woman building an online business and you're struggling to grow your personal brand because you're not really truly sharing your story, or if you have no idea how to share your story in a way in which it will actually attract the right people, this is for you. The difference between people who stay invisible and the people who build authority, attract followers, and sign clients is not better content at all. It's knowing how to turn their story into a strategic brand asset. I've used story-driven content to build a powerful personal brand, attract an engaged audience, and attract opportunities that people have never ever seen or experienced in their life. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to use your story to build trust, create connections, stand out in a crowded market, and position yourself as the obvious choice in your niche. So let's get into the video. I want to talk about why your story is your greatest business asset. I always talk about my story in my messaging because I understand so much that people connect with people before they connect with your offer. And your story creates differentiation in an overly saturated market where everybody's doing digital marketing, everybody's a coach, everybody's everybody. And I understand that trust is built faster through experiences than just expertise alone. And the strongest personal brands are actually built on transformation, not information. People ask me all the time how to find the parts of their story that actually matters. And I want to break it down into 4 points for you to remember, okay? Number 1, I want you to identify the challenges that mirror your audience's struggles. So it's very, 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 very easy to think about what your audience might struggle because you are or have been where your audience is right now. Hello, okay? Number 2, I want you to highlight turning points that changed your thinking or your actions. Number 3, focus on lessons learned, not just events that happened. Number 4, I want you to connect every story element back to the problem that you solved today. And now let's talk about how telling your story should not sound as if you are reading from your diary. I want you to shift from personal storytelling to strategic storytelling. Always make the audience the hero and not yourself. Always extract clear lessons and actionable takeaways for your audience when you are speaking to your audience so that they feel as if they are walking away with extreme value when they're coming away from your page, when they're coming to wherever blog or platform that you have where you are dumping into your audience's soul and heart and mind things about themselves that you have learned already. Make sure that it dials into them and that they have things that they can walk away from it saying, okay, I can do this, I can do that, and I can do this. And I know that I'm going to be better immediately. And use stories that actually create relevance, not just entertainment. So I don't want you telling stories where you're just talking to your audience about what happened at the family reunion. I want you to talk about something that ties into the woman that or the man that you are today and how this has cultivated and matured you and built you up so that you can be the person that you are today. And how does it tie in with your audience and actionable things that they can do starting now? And I want you to use stories that actually create relevance. So not just something that happened at some class reunion or some family reunion, but I want you to actually have information that you are sharing with your audience that is relative to the journey, that is relative to your offer and how it all ties in together. I want to talk about the 3 stories that every single personal brand needs. And I want you to jot this stuff down on a piece of paper so that you do not forget and so that you remember going forward when you're putting out your content and when you are building out your offer or thinking about building out an offer. Think about the struggle story that creates relatability. And think about the breakthrough story that establishes authority. And think about the mission story that gives people a reason to follow you. And then rotate these 3 stories consistently across your content. By the way, if you're realizing that you need help with building a personal brand that actually attracts followers, leads, and clients through your story, I help online business coaches, entrepreneurs, and digital marketers inside the Sunshine Brand system and also the Sunshine Brand Society on the school community platform. And inside the program, we focus on positioning, messaging, content strategy, and creating a brand that stands out without having to copy what everybody else is doing. If you need help implementing this in your business, click the first link in the description and book a free call. All right, let's continue. Now, I want to talk to you about the story framework, honey, that builds authority. And I'm going to break it down into 4 different steps: problem, process, result, and application. First, the problem. What life looked like before. Whatever situation you had to overcome in your life. For me, it was addiction. The process. What changed and why. The result. What happened afterwards? What was a result of you going through the addiction? What was a result of you being tested in the fire that helped you become the businesswoman that you are today? And the application. How can your audience apply the lessons that you're teaching them? How does it apply to them? What can they take from what you're sharing on a regular basis? And then we also have those common mistakes, you guys, that keep people invisible. It keeps people from sharing their story because they're waiting until their story feels finished. And that's something that I struggled with at some point in time in my life because I thought, well, I'm waiting for some grand finale. I'm waiting for my Prince Charming, my chariot. I'm waiting for this big Grammy or Oscar. But that's going to happen unless you get started and actually do the work and actually write the book and post the content. So it's kind of a trap because we seem to think to ourselves that we've got to make it to this great finish line. But baby, you're already living in a testimony. You're already walking in authority. You're already a living, breathing miracle. And they also share surface level details instead of real lessons. They make stories about themselves instead of audience transformation. And the inconsistency in storytelling and brand messaging is one of the biggest issues that I also see as well. It just doesn't coincide. We've got to be talking the same language. Today, you've learned why your story is one of the most powerful tools you have for building a personal brand, how to identify the right parts of your story to share, and how to turn those experiences into content that builds trust, authority, and connection. The truth is, baby, that people are not waiting for another expert. They're waiting for someone that they can relate to, trust, and learn from. And your story is often the bridge to get them there. If you want help building a personal brand that positions you as the go-to authority in your niche, creates content that attracts the right audience, and turns followers into clients, click the first link in the description and book a free call to learn more about the Sunshine Brand System. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss what's coming up next.